Same is true for you. What are your goals? What are your visions with the work that you're doing, with the content that you're creating, with the stuff that you're investing in? If I invest in something, is that limitation something I'm going to quickly run into? Not because I'm trying to make the purchase work before picking it up, but I'm trying to see, like, is it really going to fit my use case? Welcome to the Video Simplified podcast, where I help you simplify the video creation process to help you reach wider and connect deeper with the people that need you the most. From learning to use your camera to simplifying video strategies to help you grow your brand and share your vision using video. So let's jump right into today's episode. What is up, entrepreneurs? Welcome back to the Video Simplified podcast with me, your hostess, the mostess, Diana Gladney. Now, last week, I talked all about why I think the Sony ZV-E1 is the bee's knees Hall of Fame, my first impressions with having used it nonstop for a week, and is it a great camera for content creating entrepreneurs? And the honest answer is, yeah, it is. I think it really is. But is it that way for everybody? No, not really. So I wanted to not disregard everything that I said in the previous podcast episode, but really affirm that if you have a camera like the A6400, you have a camera like ZV-E10, maybe you're in the Canon camp or the Fuji camp or the Panasonic camp or whatever, chances are what you have is sufficient for your needs. You don't need to upgrade. Will you want to? Absolutely. Will you need to? Probably not. And I want to address why you probably shouldn't upgrade. And it has nothing to do with any of the features or any of the limitations of the camera, but more so of what are your future goals and plans for what you're doing. When I look at when I invest in a camera, I'm invested in a camera knowing that I necessarily may not need to upgrade. There is a path that I can take in order for me to create content at the level that I desire, where my skills are currently at the moment, and where they are going, my goals and visions and the skills in the future. The camera will last me anywhere from 3, 4 to 5 years until I'm getting to a point like, okay, now we're really hitting into a lot of things. We're hitting the ceiling on a lot of different areas. That's not the case for most content creating entrepreneurs. So whatever camera that you have, that you own, it probably does the job. Those different areas of where it tends to matter, you start thinking about stuff like live streaming, your client calls, video podcasts like this. Can your camera survive and handle those situations? A resounding yes, without question. Like I said, you own any of the cameras that I talked about, you're fine. As long as your camera doesn't have like a 30-minute record limit, you're fine, because that's a ceiling that you can quickly run into, whether it's from multiple takes. Maybe you're sick. I've done episodes of content on the regular channel and podcasts where I am sick. And so you're sneezing and coughing in between takes. It's taking you a minute to get out of the brain fog of how you feel. And so now you're starting to just approach stuff a little bit differently. Based on that, like, it's easy to hit the 20-minute plus recording thing and you not have 20 minutes worth of content. Maybe you dial that down and you're cutting a lot of dead air. That happens. So 30-minute recording limits is a no-no. It's definitely not on the list of non-negotiables where you take it off and you're like, oh, I don't need it because I'm not. No. Because let's say you do an interview with the top of the top person that's in your niche, that you respect, you own their books, you follow everything of what they say, and they tell you when they meet you, they're willing to give you 2 hours of their time, ask them anything that you want, ask about any procedures, processes, tour the office, talk to the team, whatever you want to know. I want to invest in you. Let's say that you hear that. What are you going to keep doing for the next 2 hours? Keep hitting like, oh, hold on, almost getting close to that 29:59. Let me go ahead and hit the button. Oh, hold on, 29 minutes, 59 seconds. Let me go ahead and redo. Like, no. For as long as I have memory in the car, I want this camera to be able to roll. You know, battery life, you can always get around. And that varies from camera to camera. But the ZV-E1 changes things on my mindset around that, because this camera is lighter than other cameras, or as light as like my E10. It's close in comparison. Much lighter than my Sony A6600. It feels like way less to me for the E1. And I'm like, it has a Z battery. I'm like, okay, that's most of the weight. So now I'm like, okay, what does this make possible? Camera doesn't have unlimited recording. That's why I was with Sony in 2019. I'm like, and I watched them even when they had the A6500 come out. A6300 was out, and I'm like, man, what a great time to be a creator. And so seeing the iterations of all these cameras and stuff like that, I'm looking at what are my goals, what are my visions. Same is true for you. What are your goals? What are your visions with the work that you're doing, with the content that you're creating, with the stuff that you're investing in? If I invest in something, is that limitation something I'm going to quickly run into? Not because I'm trying to make the purchase work before picking it up, but I'm trying to see, like, is it really going to fit my use case? For example, let's take this podcast microphone I'm talking on right now. Sitting back here in the sit down area of the office next to the bookshelves and stuff. Usually I'm at my desk using my Shure SM7B, the Rodecaster Pro 2, but I'm doing a different setup right now. Would the fact that this is my primary microphone when I was using it, is this a problem for this $50 to $80 microphone? No. It honestly takes a lot of the heavy lifting off the plate for me and my team because I don't have to worry about a whole lot. Now, the audio quality is a little different, and the way that we would probably have to do the noise processing and all that stuff would differ a little bit, but not enough to where it's such a headache to work with. It was more problematic at times with a bunch of interference type stuff at the desk, but I found like what I needed to do to make that work. But that was super minor. Now, fast forward, could I have continued to use this microphone for everything that I've been using the Shure SM7B for and stuff? Yeah. But my goals were to buy the last microphone that I would ever need to buy. And that was just Shure SM7B. And it worked out great. So knowing what my goals are, and if my camera and the purchases that I'm investing in can survive my goals and my ambitions, and even the ideas I don't have yet, the cameras that I've had from the A6400 on forward, it would be possible. It would be possible, but not without some challenges and hitting some ceilings and stuff like that. So do I think that you need to update your camera? No, it probably does a lot of things, but where my goals and my visions are going, I wanted my camera to be able to survive that as well. This camera is not without its limitations. I literally, like I said, I've been running this camera for hours all day. I'm on my second battery now, 5 minutes left to go on the SD card. I didn't see an overheating symbol, but I'm also not looking at the thing. But I'm doing all this as I'm documenting and paying attention to how this camera performs. And it just cut off because it's like internal temp too high. So I'm gonna have to test and see to make sure I have it on, which I'm pretty sure that I do. But it's just the idea, like that's not okay. You know what I'm saying? So most people, you're not going to need to buy a different camera or something else, or be worrying about, like I said, because the camera literally, after all day recording, is just now having an issue. So, and again, I'm gonna have to check some other stuff, but that's kind of disappointing, which I already knew that this would be a thing, but I'm also stress testing the hell out this camera this week. So should you upgrade, or do you need to? No, you actually don't. You could probably stay where you're at, be well served with the gear that you already have, and put your visions and your goals to work, and don't worry about when the new cameras come out. Yes, you'll want the new features, but do you need them? Are they vital to helping you get to where you need to go? Are they going to stop you? Probably not. So get to work, create the content, create, post, repeat. That's where I'm going to leave it for this week's episode of the podcast. I love to end all of our episodes. The winds of life blows on us all, but it is how you set your sails. With that, guys, with passion, I'll see you on the next episode of the Video Simplified podcast. Take care. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode, but the value doesn't stop there. For more in-depth trainings, courses, and growing your brand using video, join the Video Simplified community at videosimplified.live.